Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahla. Good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this webinar. And this webinar is brought to you by DBohra Coffee Division under the Q Q360 initiative. And the core intent of this webinar is that we deepen our understanding on sector-based insights and learn from the subject matter experts in terms of how a particular industry is growing. And as a part of Coffee Division's webinar series, today we are talking about concepts and insights of growing coffee industry, in particular cafes as well. And it's an honor that we have today Mr. Faaez. He is I'll just take about 30 seconds. I think his presentation will speak for himself in terms of the introduction, but he is the founder of this roastery called First Crack in Jodhpur. He is one of the mentors for Atal Incubation Center of Coffee Board, and he also happens to be a consultant in this industry and also works very closely with the coffee division for various kinds of initiatives. And one quick feather in the cap, he just added that he was judging in the Indian National Latte Art Championship, if I'm pronouncing it right. He was the head judge there. So he brings an immense experience in the field, in the business side, in the mentoring side. So, without further ado, I'll pass on to you, Faiz bhai, and then over to you.
Thank you, Amma bhai, for the wonderful words, and thank you to the community and the board members that they have appointed me as to initiate and to start this conversation about the concept and insight of growing coffee industry in India. Hello, everyone. My name is Faiz. I am the founder of First Crack Coffee Roasters. And today the topic for discussion is to enlighten all of you and discuss that how the industry is growing. So with Amar's by permission, so let's start. From a person, like I am from coffee industry and मैं बहुत सालों से coffee industry में काम कर रहा हूँ. Like it has been a decade for me. And after a decade work, we believe that the coffee industry is not growing. It has just started. Like हम लोगों को लगता है कि it is a very very positive sign, but it is actually a great sign that it is just start, and there are so many verticals yet to explore in coffee industry. तो सबसे पहले मैं इसी चीज से शुरुआत करता हूँ कि in a country having its affair with tea, coffee swept in slowly becoming the new most loved beverage. जैसे इंडिया में अभी भी बहुत से लोग चाय पीते हैं, चाय सब दिन की शुरुआत करते हैं, एंड कॉफी का जो ट्रेंड है वो जस्ट अभी इनिशिएट हुआ है, ये हमारा बिलीफ है. कॉफी इंडस्ट्री इज अ कम्युनिटी ड्रिवन इंडस्ट्री. तो कॉफी किसी एक इंसान से नहीं बनती है. इट इज नॉट अ सिंगल पर्सन दैट कैन ड्राइव अ कॉफी बिजनेस. इट इज अबाउट द पीपल. So like in our business also, in our brand also, we work very closely with a concept called coffee democracy. Okay, it is something for the people, by the people, from the people. So like आज भी ये है कि if you are into this industry, we believe that it is never a tea versus coffee thing. Coffee has come just initiated as a new trend, and now it eventually will become the habit for the people. वो अब लोगों की आदतें बन जाएगा. एंड इसलिए ही आज हमने सेशन इस कंसेप्ट पे रखा है कि हम आपको बताएं कि एज अ पर्सन फ्रॉम इनसाइड द इंडस्ट्री व्हाट आर द न्यू वर्टिकल्स इन द फ्यूचर स्टार्टअप्स दैट वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड. फॉर एग्जांपल अगर उनमें से आप में से कोई इस इंडस्ट्री को ज्वाइन करना चाहता है तो यू विल गेट अ ग्रेट इनसाइट दैट आप किस वर्टिकल को चूज कर सकते हैं. कॉफी बहुत हद तक, जैसे हम लोग जब भी कॉफी की बात करते हैं तो वी सी दैट वी look for the spaces like Mumbai, Delhi, Hyderabad. But surprisingly, coffee is doing really great in tier 2 and 3 cities. कुछ चीजें ऐसी है जो हमें लगता है where the opportunities lie in coffee shops and cafes, and क्यों वो lie करती है वो भी मैं आपसे डिस्कस करूंगा. तो some of the points that we have summarized is that coffee has become a trendy hangout spot for the youth. Like आज भी हमारे जो पेरेंट्स है वो चाय पे ही डिपेंडेंट है, बट जो अब नेक्स्ट जनरेशन है, so they feel coffee is something which is a new part of their lifestyle rather having tea. So they always choose coffee over tea. Then growing fascination with coffee. Coffee has not just become एक नेस्कैफे डेली डॉफ तक चीज नहीं रह गई है, या घर पे इंस्टेंट कॉफी बनाने वाली चीज नहीं रह गई है. कॉफी हैज बिकम अ होल प्रोसेस. कि आप उठते हैं, अपने दोस्तों को फोन लगाते हैं, आप एक कॉफी शॉप पे गेट टुगेदर रखते हैं, आप कॉफी पीते हैं, आइडियाज डिस्कस करते हैं. दैट्स व्हाई कॉफी हैज नॉट जस्ट बिकम अ पार्ट ऑफ अ बेवरेज बट कम्युनिटी बिल्डिंग ड्राइवर. कॉफी हैज ऑल्सो बिकम अ वेरी फैशनेबल थिंग. लाइक आप लोगों ने देखा होगा कि आजकल कॉफी एज अ बेवरेज एक आदत भी बन गई है, प्लस लोग उसको एज अ फैशन एसेसरीज भी कैरी करते हैं. हाउ द कप लुक्स लाइक्स, हाउ दे टेक इन टू द ऑफिसेज और व्हाइल ड्राइविंग द कार लाइक अ स्टाइल. तो इट हैज बिकम अ ट्रेंडिंग थिंग इन द नेक्स्ट जनरेशन. देन वर्क फ्रॉम होम कल्चर की वजह से कॉफी बहुत सारी ज्यादा चीजें प्रोमिनेंटली हमारी आदत बन गई है. when we, for example, in during after COVID time, if I am working from home, so there has to be some beverage that kicks me and avoid me from boozing off. तो जैसे जैसे वर्क फ्रॉम होम का कल्चर बढ़ा है, वैसे वैसे कॉफी का कंजम्पशन भी बढ़ा है. एंड हम वो अभी आने वाली स्लाइड्स में नंबर्स में देखेंगे, एंड इट विल बी अ वेरी बिग सरप्राइज दैट हाउ द कॉफी बिजनेस इज अनफोल्डिंग इन 2x 3x ways. So this is our next slide, and in this by number wise we are just looking forward that what are the number that we are hitting in 2025 and what is the growth that we are expecting in the next 6 years. So the Indian coffee market is expanding rapidly. जैसे आप सबको पता है, आप न्यूज में, इंस्टाग्राम पे, यूट्यूब पे एंड इवन अपने नेबरहुड में जो कॉफी इंडस्ट्री में है या कॉफी की लाइकिंग रखते हैं, यू मस्ट हैव हियर्ड कि कॉफी इंडस्ट्री बहुत ज्यादा बूम पर है. तो स्पेशलिटी कॉफी मतलब इफ वी आर, देयर आर टू टाइप ऑफ कॉफी, दैट इज कमर्शियल एंड स्पेशलिटी. अगर हम सिर्फ स्पेशलिटी कॉफी की बात करें तो लाइक इन जस्ट 2025 द कॉफी का जो टोटल बिजनेस है दैट हैज हिट $3 billion, व्हिच इज अ वेरी फिनोमिनल नंबर. And in the next 6 years we are expecting that it will be more than just double, like 6.5 billion dollars. तो आप देख सकते हैं कि there is such a huge opportunity for coffee startups and coffee based entrepreneurs in India basically. तो broader coffee market estimates show continued growth in 2035. So अभी तक क्या होता था इंडिया में, जो भी कॉफी प्रोड्यूस होती थी, मोस्ट ऑफ द कॉफी वाज प्रोड्यूस ऑन कमर्शियल लेवल एंड मोस्ट ऑफ द कॉफी वाज एक्सपोर्टेड टू फॉरेन कंट्रीज लाइक यूके हो गया, यूरोप हो गया, ऑस्ट्रेलिया हो गया, यूएस हो गया. So nobody was focusing on the quality of the coffee, but as the coffee is trending, हम लोग भी कॉफी की क्वालिटी को बहुत फोकस कर रहे हैं. That's why we are here to discuss about the future. So now most of the farmers who were into commercial coffee beans are now doing a premium work and dedicated working for specialty coffee. So that just not increase the volume of the coffee, but also the value of the whole market. पहले जहां इंडियन कॉफी की प्राइस होती थी 400 से 500 रुपए पर केजी की, आज की तारीख में द स्पेशलिटी कॉफी रेंजेस स्टार्ट फ्रॉम अराउंड 900 750 rupees per kg if I am talking about green teas. So we are not taking the lowest margin but the average thing, that the green teas itself has doubled the price from the commercial coffee to the specialty coffee in the last 5 years. तो आप ये देखिए कि सिर्फ मार्केट का वॉल्यूम नहीं बढ़ रहा है, द ब्रांड वैल्यू, द फाइनेंशियल वैल्यूज, द आरओआई, सब चीजें हमारी इंडस्ट्री में बढ़ रही है. नाउ वन साइड वी हैव सीन अबाउट द प्रोडक्शन थिंग. हम इस स्लाइड में वो नंबर्स देख रहे हैं कि हाउ वी आर कंज्यूमिंग द कॉफी. सो अगर हम बात करें तो पहले जैसे लास्ट हमने 3-4 मिनट में बात की थी कि कॉफी बीन्स हम लोग पहले कमर्शियल लेवल पे बहुत ज्यादा ग्रो करते थे, एंड नाउ द परसेंटेज of specialty coffee is increasing rapidly because people are preferring that. एंड उसमें ये भी है कि प्राइजेस भी बढ़ते हैं. नाउ अगर हम कंजम्पशन का देखें तो डोमेस्टिक कंजम्पशन जो 84,000 टन था, नाउ हैज हिट टू 96,000 टन. So now there are two factors. First, we are shifting from commercial coffee to the specialty coffee, And second, the consumption is also increasing in volume. And historically, like 80% of the Indian coffee पहले export होती थी. नाउ जो बिकॉज खुद की जो डिमांड है हमारे इंडिया में जो डिमांड है, अगर आप खुद की भी अगर देखें तो इट इज नॉट जस्ट दैट यू आर ड्रिंकिंग कॉफी इन पर्टिकुलर कैफेज या दूसरे शहरों में जाते हैं तो उधर की रोस्ट्री या उधर के जो आइकॉनिक कैफे है वो एक्सप्लोर करते हैं, बट इवन देयर आर मैनी पीपल हु मस्ट बी ब्रूइंग कॉफी देयर होम. आप अपनी कॉफी अपने घर पे भी बनाना स्टार्ट करते हैं. तो अगर वैसे देखा जाए तो पहले जो इंडिया अपनी कॉफी का ज्यादातर रेवेन्यू एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा था ना, वो इंडियन फार्मर्स को ज्यादा कॉफी एक्सपोर्ट करने की जरूरत ही नहीं हो रही, बिकॉज इंडिया में ही इटसेल्फ कमर्शियल कॉफी की एंड अच्छी कॉफी सॉरी स्पेशलिटी कॉफी की एंड अच्छी कॉफी की डिमांड सर्च हो रही है, नॉट जस्ट बिकॉज ऑफ द कैफे लेवल बट ऑन डिफरेंट वर्टिकल, जो हम आने वाली स्लाइड में आगे डिस्कस करते हैं. नाउ द नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, export earnings have surged with coffee export reaching to $1.29 billion in fiscal year 23-24. Now, इसका क्या मतलब होता है कि सर्ज हो रहा है एक्सपोर्ट? इट इज अ वेरी सिंपल थिंग कि पहले एक हमारे अगर आप अपनी लाइफ स्टाइल को देखें या 10 साल पहले हमारी मेंटेलिटी को भी देखें, तो अगर कोई बात बोलता था कि ब्राजीलियन कॉफी है या कोलंबियन कॉफी है या इथोपियन कॉफी है, तो भले हमें नहीं पता था वो स्पेशलिटी है या उनकी ग्रेडिंग क्या है, लेकिन हमको वो चीज बहुत वैल्यूबल लगती थी. इट वॉज एक परसेप्शन बनाया हुआ था, एक सोच हमने बनाई हुई थी कि वो ब्राजीलियन कॉफी है तो बहुत अच्छी कॉफी है. नाउ बिकॉज इंडियन कॉफी खुद क्वालिटी वाइज ग्रेडिंग वाइज इतनी हाई एक्सीलेंस लेवल्स उन्होंने अचीव किए हैं कि वर्ल्ड के अंदर ग्लोबली इंडियन कॉफी की एक अलग पोजीशन बनी है. So it is not that India has become one of the top producers of coffee, but one of the highest rated coffee. There are many coffees like Riverdale, Ratnagiri that has secured their position among the top 40 coffee producers of the world. So this has become a great achievement. So now the thing with the producers and the value chain is that it is not that Indian coffee is popular locally, but Indian coffee is also getting popular globally. So that in India, जब हम बात करें तो before starting this point, we also want to feel that how the coffee produces in India. So India पहले बहुत बड़ा प्रोड्यूसर था कमर्शियल कॉफी का, जिसमें मेजोरिटी ऑफ कॉफी बीन्स जो होती थी वो रोबस्टा होती थी, which was earlier utilized by companies like Nescafe, Tata and everything. Still Tata is one of the biggest producers for that particular coffee, जो इंस्टेंट कॉफी में काम आती थी, like Nescafe, DBohra and everything. उसके अलावा इंडिया स्पेशलिटी कॉफी में भी प्रोडक्ट्स प्रोड्यूस करता है. स्टिल वन ऑफ द मोस्ट लव इंडियन कॉफीज आर रोबस्टा, एंड अब इंडिया में अराबिका रोबस्टा भी उगने लगा है. अराबिका में वन ऑफ द थिंग्स दैट इंडियन प्रोड्यूसर्स हैज अचीव्ड इन रिसेंट डिकेड इज द प्रोसेसिंग पार्ट. तो लाइक अराबिका में अगर आप देखें तो अराबिका में यू विल गेट वॉश्ड कॉफी, you will get honey sun dried, then fermented coffees, wine barrel, whiskey barrel, and everything. So these has become a new trend in the coffee industry. These coffees, we are talking about the green coffee beans, and India is also working greatly with very new type of varietals. तो varietal क्या होता है कि different region के हिसाब से coffee grow होती है. तो India has done very good mutations for the coffee that preserve the coffee from insect infections and climate changes and everything, because India has a very uncertain climate. यहाँ पे in the coffee farms as well, there is very huge uncertainty with the rain. So like India is producing Katuai, then SLN 95 hai. Then even India producers are now working on having geisha to be produced in India. It is again an achievement. Now, after the green bees, we are coming on the thing coffee roasting and trading roasting business. So India roasting sector is burgeoning with a specialty focus. Global and domestic demand for single origin coffee beans is rising. So India में अभी पहले like bulk trading होती थी. तो what is bulk trading? That there is a particular region in which there are many farmers. So सारे फार्मर्स अपनी जो ग्रीन कॉफी बीन्स होते थे वो मार्केट में लेकर आते थे, एंड देन दैट कमर्शियल कॉफी यूज्ड टू बी exported or sent to the different companies. Now India is highly working on single origin coffee. So what is single origin coffee? One of the factor about a specialty coffee is the traceability. कि ये कॉफी कहाँ से आई है, what is the microclimate this coffee is particular coming from, what is the altitude, and these all parameters very profoundly differentiate the character of the coffee and the flavor of the final cup. So India is now coming as one of the leading producer of single origin coffee. For example, अगर आप में से बहुत लोगों ने सुना होगा, there is a particular state called रत्नागिरी या बाबरा या हेकवाल स्टेट. तो दैट उसी स्टेट की कॉफी है. if it is a mountain and there are two states in the on that particular region, we are getting coffee from Ratnagiri, and that is called the traceability in specialty coffee. उसके बाद आता है माइक्रो लॉट्स. तो माइक्रो लॉट्स इज इन दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉफी स्टेट, व्हाट इज द पर्टिकुलर रीजन जहां पे परफेक्ट रेन हुई है, परफेक्ट क्लाइमेट आया है, परफेक्ट सनलाइट आई है, दैट आर कॉल्ड माइक्रो लॉट्स. तो जब हम एज ऑन अ कॉफी रोड का साइड आते हैं, दिस ये अभी तक बात चल रही थी ग्रीन बीन्स की. नाउ इंडिया इज आल्सो वर्किंग ग्रेटली विद द कॉफी बीन्स, बिकॉज आपने बहुत अच्छे ग्रीन बीन्स तो ग्रो कर दिए, but how you convert them into something that you can grind and brew your coffee. So that was come to the roasting. Earlier, like a decade before, roasters की इतनी वैल्यू नहीं थी या इतना मार्केट नहीं था इंडिया में, because specialty coffee का इतना कंजम्पशन नहीं था. Now if you see in the last decade, there are many roasters, artisanal roasters, brand like Blue Tokai, Third Wave, brand like us are coming in the market and doing good, because there is a demand of a specialty coffee. So every roaster have their own profile जिससे वो अपनी coffee beans को roast करता है and customer के demand के according supply करता है, and it is one of the most prominent segment जिसमें आज कोई भी एंटर हो रहा है तो वो आ सकता है, बिकॉज व्हेन यू आर कमिंग टू द प्रोडक्शन पार्ट, अगर आपको कॉफी बीन का फार्मर बनना है, प्रोड्यूसर बनना है, तो उसके लिए आपके पास बहुत बड़ा लैंड, आपके पास नॉलेज, आपके पास एक्सपीरियंस, ह्यूमन रिसोर्स सब होना चाहिए जिनको उस जगह काम करने की आदत हो. बट अगेन इफ यू वांट टू एंटर इनटू द रोस्टिंग बिजनेस, you also need to have a great experience and knowledge, but it is easy for you as compared to become a producer. Now as we have talked about the roasting part, so in roasting में two verticals है. If you want to become a small artisanal roaster like I am, so for that the budget is around 20 to 40 lakh rupees. For the roastery part, just I am talking about the machinery part, and if you want to become a commercial roaster, so the investment bracket is something 50 to 80 lakh rupees. Now roasting business is totally dependent about the कि आप कौन से टाइप के ग्रीन बी चूज करते हैं. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, जस्ट फॉर द एग्जांपल, इट इज sake for roasters like me that are come into the category of artisanal roasters, हम लोग छोटे बैचेस रोस्ट करते हैं होम ब्रूअर्स के लिए. And if you are going to the commercial roastery, then you will be roasting huge batches for other cafes and coffee shops and brands. Now, after roasting, we are coming with the trading opportunities things. So, as I talked earlier, that if somebody is entering to the business, they can either go with the producer side, then the roasting part, and now there is a new vertical that is opening in India, that is a trading opportunity. This is one of the most underrated vertical right now, as I feel personally. For example, if somebody has a warehouse or somebody have a good space and a capital, and I am a micro roaster, I can't purchase green coffee beans in metric tons. Okay, if I have to have a one bag, so universally the one green coffee bag is around 60 kgs. So I am a micro roaster, I want to purchase one bag or two. So there can be some trader to whom I can buy at a particular price rather than going for a metric ton. 1000 kg नहीं लेना मुझे, 60 kg 120 kg लेना, because I am focusing on D2C. So if there is a good businessman who doesn't want to get involved totally into coffee industry but want to invest some part of his wealth into coffee industry, they can become a good trader. Now इसमें एक चीज और है कि what is the basic difference between artisanal roasters and commercial roaster. So again, specialty and commercial coffee अलग है. रोस्टिंग में आर्टिसनल एंड कमर्शियल का मीन्स ग्रेडिंग वाइज नहीं होता है. इसमें ये होता है कि आर्टिसनल रोस्टर्स रोस्ट कॉफी इन स्मॉल बैचेस, हैव वेरी डिफरेंट टाइप ऑफ कॉफीज, फोकसिंग ऑन होम ब्रूअर्स एंड D2C customers. So they must be having like a few bags of many of different producers and farmers, different process. Because क्या होता है when you are doing a D2C brand, for example हमारी वेबसाइट है, हमारा D2C brand है, अब the loyalty of the customer depend on what type of coffee beans you are giving. Like I am a home brewer, so every time I will be requiring some new coffee beans to try. That excites me, वो मुझे खुश करता है, वो मुझे नई कॉफी एक्सप्लोर करता है. तो सम टाइम आई विल बी हैविंग अ कॉफी विद अ ब्राइडल और जेडी, सम टाइम विद कटवाई, सम टाइम विद SLN9, कभी कभी मैं वॉश कॉफी प्रेफर करूंगा, कभी हनी सनराइज. एंड व्हेन यू आर कमिंग टू कमर्शियल कॉफी रोस्टिंग, इट इज द वॉल्यूम दैट स्पीक्स. तब आपका ऑर्डर भी ऐसा नहीं होता है कि इट इज 250 ग्राम और 1 kg. द ऑर्डर्स विल बी वेरिंग फ्रॉम 10 kg to 1 quintal. So that is the basic difference between the artisanal roasting and commercial roasting. So with the global specialty demand rising, Indian state with traceability can access premium markets. So ये हमने अभी तक जितना भी conversation किया है, it is to the very basic coffee businesses other than coffee shop. Coffee shop में coffee beans आने से पहले जितने भी businesses opportunities होती है, whether they are the producer or the roaster or the trader, हमने अभी तक बहुत सारी बात की. Now what about the new India? हम जब भी ये बोलते हैं कॉफी इंडस्ट्री ग्रो कर रही है, स्पेशलिटी कॉफी इंडस्ट्री ग्रो कर रही है, तो वी हैव अ थिंग इन आवर माइंड दैट इट इज ऑलवेज अबाउट जस्ट द रोस्टिंग पार्ट ऑफ द ग्रीन कॉफी और द कॉफी शॉप्स. बट देयर आर मैनी वर्टिकल्स दैट इज स्टिल अनएक्सप्लोर्ड इन इंडिया. मतलब बहुत से लोगों ने उन चीज़ों के बारे में कभी फोकस ही नहीं किया है कि हम इन चीज़ों पे भी फोकस कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज यहाँ पे तो मार्केट बिल्कुल ही अनटैप है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसे इंस्टेंट कॉफी एंड रेडी टू ड्रिंक. तो RTD इज बेसिकली रेडी टू ड्रिंक कॉफी मार्केट साइज. तो नाउ अभी तक हम जो बात कर रहे थे वो कॉफी बीन्स के बारे में बात कर रहे थे, ग्रीन कॉफी की, ट्रेडिंग, रोस्टिंग. नाउ व्हाट अबाउट रेडी टू ड्रिंक कॉफी एंड इंस्टेंट कॉफी? नाउ this is one thing that has like I would say that there are many brand which is into this ready to drink beverage and instant coffee. Instant coffee में तो one of the biggest player is Nescafe. And इंडिया में Nescafe के बाद जिसका नंबर आता है तो बहुत से लोगों को लगता है it will be Brew, Sleepy Owl. It is Davidoff. तो like this is a very saturated market but not a competitive market in my perspective, because रेडी टू ड्रिंक कॉफी का होता है यू डोंट नीड एनी apparatus, you don't need any espresso machine, so everybody is tend to purchase that thing. So there are two things, that is instant and ready to drink. तो RTD अभी तक इंडिया में बहुत अनएक्सप्लोर्ड है. मतलब आप कभी भी किसी अपने आसपास वाले सुपरमार्केट में, शॉप में जाएंगे तो आपको बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी मिल जाएगी जिसमें आप इंस्टेंट कॉफी परचेज कर सकते हैं, बट यू विल फाइंड वेरी वेरी फ्यू ऑप्शंस फॉर रेडी टू ड्रिंक कॉफी. लाइक हमने एक पोल किया था, उसमें हमने रेडी टू ड्रिंक कॉफी के नाम लिखने को बोला था लोगों को, एंड मैक्सिमम पीपल रोड अमूल कूल कॉफी. बट आई वुड नॉट कंसिडर दैट एज अ RTD इन कॉफी इंडस्ट्री. तो रेडी टू ड्रिंक कॉफी का मतलब होता है जैसे कोल्ड ब्रू की बॉटल्स हो गई, कॉफी कॉन्कोक्शंस की बॉटल हो गई, कॉफी बेस्ड प्रोटीन शेक्स हो गए. तो दैट इज स्टिल, जब आप लोगों ने भी बहुत से, आई एम श्योर यू आर लिविंग इन मुंबई एंड बैंगलोर एंड एवरी स्पेस, व्हेन यू गो टू एनी सुपरमार्केट देयर आर वेरी वेरी फ्यू ऑप्शंस देयर. तो दिस इज वन ऑफ द मार्केट दैट वी हैव सीन कि आप $8.7 मिलियन का टोटल टर्नओवर है 2025 पे, व्हिच इज प्रोजेक्टेड टू 129.6 मिलियन बाय 2031. तो आप इसकी ग्रोथ रेट देखिए 6.8%, बिकॉज इट इज स्टिल द अनटैप्ड मार्केट. Then cold brew segment. Now we have a tendency that सबको ऐसा लगता है कि अब हम मिल्क बेस्ड बेवरेज नहीं पिए या स्वीट कॉफी नहीं पिए So cold brew is one of the hot selling items right now, not in just cafes, but I think अगर कोई ना कोई बंदा इसमें कोई अच्छा revolution लेकर आएगा, because the only target with the cold brew is the limited shelf life. Nobody has defined the particular shelf life for a cold brew, but it is one of the untapped thing in the coffee industry and RTD market particularly. Now, again, this is the market size and the growth that we are seeing. What are the trends we are seeing in the RTD and cold brew? So, like when you travel globally, so like for example, if you go to Dubai and everything, so they have many brands that are dedicated to concoction and cold brews. So there is a very low difference between both the beverage. So ice lattes, nitro coffee, flavor variants seeing rapid uptake. So what they do, for example, you buy a cold concoction bottle or a cold brew bottle from the market. आप उसको अपने घर में आइस डालिए, मिल्क डालिए, कोल्ड ब्रू डालिए, and it is ready to drink. So these are the opportunities that we have still untapped. हमने इन चीजों के बारे में सोचना नहीं है. Everybody is running behind the roasters and setting up a coffee shop, which is good, which is also a profitable business. But these are the things that will involve more of technology, and there are many fraternities now supporting this. Then uh, again, as we have started our slide with the saying that India is a tea loving country. हमारे हमसे पहले जनरेशंस ने चाय पे ही पिया है. It is only in the south that you will find that people starting there with filter coffee. But if you go to North India, everybody is starting there with the masala chai. But what about the next generation? Millennials हो गया, Gen Z हो गया, जिनको चाय समझ में नहीं आती है, who are not avid tea drinkers, they are avid coffee drinkers. So for them, or for example, if somebody want to have their coffee, so they will not go cafe in the morning or the late night. They will be having their coffee like just getting up from the bed and everything. तो उसके अंदर ये RTDs, cold brew, इसको हम देखते हैं कि एक इमर्जिंग एंड बूमिंग मार्केट है ये. Now, instant coffee को तो every day मतलब we say that instant coffee is not a competition. It is a good to go product. It is a convenient product. Everybody is not into specialty coffee or is able to give a 200-300 rupees for a cup. So instant coffee is a very good opportunity for everyone, and even like you can have an opportunity in having a very different type of instant coffee. For example, अगर आपको लगता है कि cinnamon is good for health, so why not have somebody has made instant coffee with cinnamon flavor, with original organic cinnamon flavor? Or why not if somebody is making some black coffee concoction with organic wild honey, which is good for health and more convenience? So these are the ideas that we can bring up. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल मसाला चाय है, तो बहुत से लोग तिरामिसू फ्लेवर की इंस्टेंट कॉफी, सिनेमन, pumpkin spice. So we can do this type of instant coffees and premixes for the industry. Then business model. So I think Blue Tokai and many other brands have started their canned cold brew bottles and doing great e-commerce presently. When we see the subscription model considered and cold brew kits, so there are many brands like Sleepy Owl. I'm just giving you an example. So if somebody want, they can go and take a deep study. They can connect, and they can also order something to see the how the product works. So there are three things that I have included, which are other than RTD and cold brew. That is bottled RTD and canned cold brew cans. So it is again why to take a canned cold drink or canned juice. Canned cold brew is always good to go. So for example, I have taken inspiration from Blue Tokai. They are doing two type of canned cold brews. One is their traditional classic cold brew, and one is their nitro infused cold brew, which is a little fizzy version for the next generation. Then subscription coffee considered. Now, what is particularly subscription model? It has not been very hugely circulated in Indian coffee market, but in at global level. For example, I know that Monday to Friday is my working day. Saturday, Sunday is off. So, like in Australian communities, many brands and many cafe owners are doing this subscription coffee models. जैसे आपने देखा होगा कि आपके घरों के बाहर बहुत दफा ऐसा होता है कि देयर इज दूध वाला आता है, मिल्क की बॉटल्स लेकर जाता है. तो इन कंट्रीज लाइक ऑस्ट्रेलिया वेयर they have a very deep habit of having coffee every day and in huge quantity. So they give a bottle concoction every day at your home. So it's like a subscription that you get a concoction bottle at your home for the daily use of 2 or 3 people. They make coffee there at home, and it is good to go. And then the last thing that we are working on is plant-based variant to appeal to health-conscious consumers. Like particularly in cafe industry itself, in the last decade, as people are getting more sensitive and allergic to milk, dairy milk, and everything. So now there are many brands that are working very hard to have a alt milk beverage, alt milk ready to drink coffee. For example, canned coffee made in oat milk or canned coffee made in almond milk. And even there are many brands that are coming with the premixes. So what they are doing is, for example, आपने देखा होगा कि बहुत सी होटल्स में ready to use pouches होते हैं, which you open the pouch, you pour in the hot water and the coffee is ready to go. But instead of their dairy milk, like milk powder, they are using a alt milk powder, like ready to use coconut milk or something like that, जो आपने hot water में डाला and your beverage is ready to drink after a stay. So this is again the opportunity. Also, what I believe that this is particularly something that will take another 2 or 3 years to grow prominently, because people are still not up from dairy milk. People are still have a very subjective bifurcation over dairy milk and the alt milk, and there is a discussion going on. But I feel that this is a great thing to tap. And even if you are coming with a cafe or something, it is something that you can move forward. In our cafes in tier 2 and 3 city, now people are keeping oat milk and everything. So this is again a very good vertical if somebody want to have a plant-based variant. Now, what emerging innovation and business ideas? So as we have talked about coffee subscription, personalization, now there is functional coffee beverages. There are many brands that I know. For example, there are countries who are into this CrossFits and boxing, and during the Olympic Games, there are brands that are sponsoring for protein. And from there, I get to know that there is something like protein cold coffee. So basically, it is an oat milk. It is coffee which give them pre-boost before their sports competition, and there is a protein powder infused in it. It is a ready-to-drink beverage. So everything is healthy in it. Everything has a good shelf life of around 30 to 60 days. It's just that you have to formulate the formula for a good taste and a good, health benefit ingredients wise. Then hybrid experiences. Now after, like, we say that we are doing a very hybrid and mutation work with the beverages, the concept like protein shakes with coffee flavor, then ready to drink coffee and everything. Now there is a hybrid experiences as well. Now what is a hybrid experience? For example, if there is a fashion outlet, like what the crosswords and everybody doing, that is a coffee, that is a bookstore. But they have seen that people who are coming here for reading books or purchasing books have an appetite of have ordering a coffee. आप बहुत दफा ऐसा होता है कि आप एक बुक स्टोर पे जाते हो एंड सडनली यू विल रियलाइज कि आपको एक कॉफी या चाय की जरूरत है. तो हाइब्रिड एक्सपीरियंस इज बेसिकली नॉट अ डायरेक्ट सेलिंग ऑफ कॉफी बट इनडायरेक्ट सेलिंग ऑफ कॉफी. Now coming to our next point, which is one of the most interesting discussion of this PPT, that is non-FMB opportunities using coffee and byproduct. So during last World of Coffee Dubai, I seen a brand that was using coffee residue for making sunglasses frames. So now it is a very weird thing. It is a basically a recycling thing that आपका कॉफी का जो रेसिड्यू बनता है कॉफी बनाने के बाद, उसको आप प्लास्टिक एंड अदर इंग्रेडिएंट के साथ यूज कर उसके आप फ्रेम्स बना लो, आई वेव फ्रेम्स. So now this is a very interesting thing. People are only seeing direct usage of coffee. Okay? But what is the innovation and technology you can come up with such products which are fashionable, which are easy to sell. एंड बहुत दफा क्या होता है कि कुछ प्रोडक्ट होते हैं, जैसे आप लोगों ने बहुत से लोगों ने एम कैफीन का नाम सुना होगा. So they are using, for example, product like Faaez scrub using coffee beans or crushed coffee or ground or residue coffee. Now एक है ना ये फैंसी चीज होती है, मतलब because of the branding, and when you scrub the face with that particular product you get a coffee aroma and everything. So that are fancy things. मेरा मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि that has a great market opportunity, because on the price point that is not so expensive, on the brand value wise it is very attractive. For example, I am a coffee lover, and even I would have not been from the coffee business, अगर मैं coffee business से नहीं भी होता and कोई मुझे बोलता कि this is a face scrub जिससे आपकी skin glow होती है and इसमें coffee residue है, so it is a fancy thing to applaud and use. So that is the beauty and personal care industry that is emerging related to the coffee. Then decor and utility product, as I've said, that there are many brands that are using now coffee residue as a decorative item. I have seen that they are making, like, for example, if you have heard about this Husky cups. So Husky cup is basically cup that is made of coffee plant husk. So again, if you see directly, it is not something that is very out of this world thing, but again, a very fancy thing to sell and something very innovative to make, and waste upcycling ventures. Now there is a thing that somebody asking that what is the shelf life of beans if we were to import. So ideally, if we see, to green beans, if taken care of in a particular climate, in particular weather condition, in airtight bags, ecostat bags में जो आज बहुत commonly market में आजकल यूज हो रहे हैं, which control the micro environment and prevent the coffee beans with green coffee beans getting contaminated with fungus or insect. So I feel that even a 1 to 2 year period is okay for green coffee beans if it is ideally kept in a controlled climate and weather condition. Like उधर direct sunlight नहीं होनी चाहिए, wet weather नहीं होना चाहिए, wet conditions नहीं होनी चाहिए. It should not be directly touching the water or something that it gets contaminated. Otherwise, and if you see with the roasted coffee beans, again the export is a very good vertical if you are if you can control the volume. For example, there are, if we see the export, there are basically two type of containers that is working in the coffee industry for export or import. So that is 7 tons and 19 tons. If I am not wrong, it can be around that only. So there is a small container and a large container, and the roughly amount of coffee that is imported or exported is 7 tons and 19 tons. So that is the volume you can play with. And for green beans, the shelf life is much elongated, ranging from 1 to 2 years. And for roasted coffee beans, I would suggest it will be between 6 months to 9 months, depending on what type of packet you are using. Whether it is with valve, without valve, it is sealed pack. It is depending on that, because again, as we are diving more into the science of coffee, we are seeing that coffee development after roasting take at least 21 days for the complex coffee to mature 100%. Now, these are some of the pictorial description of what are the coffee shops in India that are in trend now. So we have talked about the green coffee beans, about the roasting market, about the ready-to-drink beverage, and after that we have also talked about that what are the new industry opportunities that are coming using coffee ground, residue coffee, etc. Now, if we talk to the core business, that is the most attractive part of the coffee industry, that is the coffee shop and the cafes. So one is the chain coffee shop like Costa, Barista, Starbucks, and everything. Even we can include Brew Tokai, Araku, Third Wave. And then there are independent coffee shops, which doesn't have a presence in many multiple cities and which doesn't primarily focus on franchising. So again, if somebody among us want to open a cafe, so he or she should be very clear that what type of coffee brand they want to introduce in the market. आप कैसा कॉफी ब्रांड इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहते हैं, क्या आपको एक मॉडल बनाना है कॉफी शॉप का, एंड अगेन यू वांट टू स्केल अप गिविंग फ्रेंचाइजीज, मतलब आप एक बेसिक कॉफी शॉप का मॉडल बनाकर उसकी फ्रेंचाइजी देना चाहिए चाहते हैं टू मल्टीपल स्टोर्स, टू मल्टीपल सिटीज, या आप एक डेस्टिनेशन कैफे बनाना चाहते हैं। नाउ इंडिपेंडेंट कॉफी शॉप एंड डेस्टिनेशन कैफे एक ही मैं एक प्लेटफॉर्म में डालूंगा। व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द डेस्टिनेशन कैफे, फॉर एग्जांपल आप मुंबई से दिल्ली आ रहे हैं, या मुंबई से बैंगलोर जा रहे हैं, या हैदराबाद जा रहे हैं, या जयपुर जा रहे हैं, वेयरएवर यू आर गोइंग, आप अगर एक कॉफी लवर है तो आप पहले से अपनी आइटिनरी में कुछ पर्टिकुलर प्लेसेस का नाम लिखकर जाएंगे कि दीज आर द प्लेसेस दैट आर सर्विंग बेस्ट कॉफी एंड बेस्ट एक्सपीरियंस इन दैट पर्टिकुलर सिटी। So again, that type of cafe is a huge cafe that is focused on serving people, not in volume but in the value part, giving experiential thing. उधर खाना, उधर कॉफी, उधर एक एम्बियंस, सारी चीजें एक्यूमुलेटिव होती है. That particular brand doesn't have many stores in many cities, but if we see the revenue wise, they are earning more with individual small cafe shops. So that we define as independent coffee shop or destination cafes, we can say. Then comes specialty coffee shop. So specialty coffee shop is majorly focusing on coffee over food. Obviously, there can be food options. There can be some good to go food like croissants, sandwiches, something like that, pastry items, bakery, patisserie, patisserie. But these type of coffee shops primarily work on having good coffee. सो इस इन सब मॉडल्स में स्पेशलिटी कॉफी शॉप का बहुत बड़ा रोल होता है. बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रेवेन्यू पार्ट इस चीज पे डिपेंड करता है कि आपकी स्पेशलिटी कॉफी शॉप किस लोकेलिटी में. तो अगेन एज आई सेड दैट स्पेशलिटी कॉफी शॉप में आपका बेवरेज चेन कॉफी शॉप से थोड़ा सा एक्सपेंसिव होगा. तो यू शुड ऑलवेज फोकस फॉर प्राइमरी एरियाज इन योर सिटी, कॉर्पोरेट एरिया, कम्युनिटी जो होते हैं, जो बड़ी कम्युनिटी हाउसेज होते हैं, या जो फ्लैट कल्चर्स होते हैं, उधर बिजनेस हब होते हैं, उधर ये कॉफी शॉप ज्यादा अच्छे से रेवेन्यू अर्न करती है. देन अवर लास्ट एंड वन ऑफ द मोस्ट एक्साइटिंग मॉडल दैट आई एम सीइंग राइट नाउ इन इंडिया, दैट इज द हाइब्रिड कॉफी शॉप. जैसे हमने क्रॉस बोर्ड का एग्जांपल लिया था कि अब क्रॉस बोर्ड के जितने भी नए स्टोर खोलते हैं, इट इज प्राइमरली अ बुक शॉप, but now they have a coffee counter along with them, जिसमें वो लोगों को कॉफी भी सर्व करते हैं. मुंबई में बहुत सारी बुटीक होटल्स है जिनका बेसिकली काम रूम एंड सर्विसेज प्रोवाइड करना है, but with them they have a small coffee shop in their receptions to engage and retain people more and more. So the coffee has not just become something that is a small trend now, but has eventually become a part of a lifestyle. लाइक आपको जहां भी कॉफी मिलती है तो यू ऑटोमेटिकली फील कि ये जगह अच्छी है, ये जगह प्रीमियम है, ये जगह लोगों के लिए है, कम्युनिटी बिल्डिंग के लिए है. नाउ इफ समबडी वांट टू स्टार्ट अ कॉफी बिजनेस, अभी तक हमने सारी गुड अपॉर्चुनिटीज के बारे में बात किया कि इंडिया में हम लोग ये मानते हैं कि कॉफी इंडस्ट्री जस्ट ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ ग्रोइंग है. अभी तक हम सबकी जबान पे चढ़ा हुआ है कॉफी कॉफी, वी आर जस्ट रिसाइटिंग द थिंग कॉफी, बट हाउ द work happens, how the thing happens, how that particular thing imbibes in our habit and daily life, इसका जहां से इनिशिएशन होता है, that is value proposition. So value proposition is where the idea and the management start for any cafe. For example, we have two brands. So one brand is dedicated, the value proposition of that particular brand is community building. So that brand, it has a good food menu, good coffee menu, there are desserts, there are shakes, there are healthy options, the sitting is very lavish, the chairs and tables are very comfortable, because these small things help you to build and retain more and more loyal customers. Even if seen these two pictures, one of the picture is from Roastery Coffee House. So if you go to that particular cafes which are totally focused on the community building, कि उधर लोग आकर बैठे, लोग बातें करें, लोग अपने आइडियाज डिस्कस करें, तो वो हर चीज का ध्यान रखते हैं कि उनकी सिटिंग कंफर्टेबल होनी चाहिए, उनके पास वेज खाने के ऑप्शंस होने चाहिए, नॉन वेज होने चाहिए, वीगन लोगों के लिए ऑप्शंस होने चाहिए. तो दैट इज वन पार्ट. एंड द अदर पार्ट इज QSR टाइप ऑफ मॉडल. कोई सर्विस रेस्टोरेंट टाइप का मॉडल है कि जहां आपका प्रोडक्ट अच्छा है, आपने अपनी प्राइस कॉस्टिंग मतलब रिड्यूस कर दी है by not giving a very lavish experience but just working on the food and the product item. ये जैसे अब बहुत सारे कैफेज हो गया, आप लोग अक्सर आपकी विसिनिटी में जाते होगे, यू जस्ट बाय अ टेक अवे कॉफी एंड यू गो. The price is very low as compared to the experiential centers. So आप कभी भी कॉफी शॉप या कैफे बिजनेस स्टार्ट करने का सोचते, तो सबसे पहले आपको यही आइडिएशन करना पड़ता है कि मुझे एक बड़ा स्टोर खोलना है जिसमें मेरा बहुत सारा रेवेन्यू का पार्ट मैं इस चीज के लूंगा कि मैं अपने कस्टमर को कैसा एक्सपीरियंस दे रहा हूँ, या मुझे एक अच्छा प्रोडक्ट एंड गुड टू गो कॉफी शॉप खोलनी है जिसमें आई विल ओनली चार्ज premium for the product, not for the ambience. Now, these are some of the key features of a coffee-based cafe. So, the first thing is obviously the quality coffee offerings. Now, there is a question that आपके दिमाग में भी आता होगा, बहुत से लोग मेरे से पूछते भी हैं कि there are specialty coffee shops and then there are coffee brand, I would not name it, but there are coffee brand that give coffee for 70 to 100 rupees. So which coffee option or which coffee shop is better? As I said कि जब भी आप कॉफी बिजनेस में एंटर होते हैं, आपके पास सबसे पहले ये क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए कि आपको क्या चाहिए. तो आई ऑलवेज बिलीव दैट दोनों कॉफी शॉप अच्छे हैं. अगर कोई कॉफी शॉप आपको 300-400 रुपए की कॉफी सेल आउट कर रहा है और कोई 80-100 रुपीज की कॉफी बेच रहा है, दोनों अच्छे हैं. The pricing of the coffee depends on the quality of the coffee. Obviously, everybody, as India, there is a huge population of middle class and lower middle class. Everybody can't afford a cup of 300 or 400 in their daily life. So, मेरे लिए एक छोटी कॉफी शॉप जो 80-100 रुपीज की कॉफी सेल कर रहा है वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, सीइंग द इंडियन इकोनॉमी एंड इंडियन कॉफी मार्केट. एंड एक 300-400 का बेच रहा है वो भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. इट जस्ट डिपेंड ऑन द ओनर्स एंड द ब्रांड एम्बेसडर्स कि वो क्या ब्रांड बनाना चाहते हैं. एंड सेकंड थिंग, आपका टारगेट कस्टमर कौन है. देन डाइवर्स मेन्यू. अगर आपका बहुत एक्सपीरियंशियल सेंटर है तो ऑब्वियसली यू हैव अ वेरी डाइवर्स मेन्यू, बिकॉज if a cafe is there having a sitting capacity of 60 to 70 people, obviously they are targeting family and big get together, so there has to be a diverse menu as compared to small cafes जहां आप लिमिटेड मेन्यू पे काम चला सकते हैं. then education and experience. आज जैसे हम लोग भी बात कर रहे हैं डिफरेंट वर्टिकल्स ऑफ कॉफी इंडस्ट्री, हमारी जो न्यू जनरेशन है दैट आर मच मोर अवेयर अबाउट द प्रोडक्ट. एंड the thing is कि education and experience is not just something that you should be sharing with your consumer कि आप क्या प्रोडक्ट कर रहे हैं, but that should be a thing that you should work on with your team as well. आज बहुत सारे आप लोगों में से ऐसे हो गए जिनकी इंडिविजुअल ऑलरेडी बिजनेसेस है and you will be hiring team for if you want to enter into the coffee business. तो आप जब भी कोई ब्रांड खोलते हैं, आपका विजन क्या है उस ब्रांड को लेकर, दैट शुड बी रेसिप्रोकेटेड बाय एवरी इंडिविजुअल हु इज वर्किंग अंडर योर ब्रांड. फॉर एग्जांपल, अगर मेरे पास 10 जनों का स्टाफ है एंड मेरा विजन ये है कि मेरे कस्टमर जो भी आए वो मेरी कॉफी से, मेरे खाने से खुश होकर जाए, तो दैट शुड बी द मोटिव एंड विजन फॉर एवरीवन हु इज वर्किंग अंडर यू. देन देयर इज समथिंग दैट यू कैन बिल्ड अ ब्रांड लाइक ब्लू टोकाई वगैरह. गलतियां सबसे होती है इन आवर इंडस्ट्री एज इट इज बेस्ड ऑन ह्यूमन रिसोर्स. There is a huge margin of mistakes, but again, education and experience बहुत काम करता है यहाँ पे. The fourth very important point, ambience and atmosphere. So when we see India as a market, like we have been delivering coffee to more than 150 cities, we have our own cafes. I have seen that product and like coffee and beverage, आपका food बहुत अच्छा होना चाहिए, but it is छोटा स्टोर हो या बड़ा स्टोर हो, एम्बियंस एंड एटमॉस्फेयर बहुत बड़ा रोल प्ले करता है आपके कस्टमर को पहली दफा लाने के लिए. ऑब्वियसली एक आपको रिपीट कस्टमर, एक लॉयल कस्टमर तब बनेगा जब आपकी कॉफी एंड फूड अच्छा होगा. बट इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि एक छोटा स्टोर हो 10x10 का, एक बड़ा स्टोर हो 100x100 का, दोनों के अंदर एम्बियंस एंड एटमॉस्फेयर एंड हाउ यू वार्म यू मेक दैट प्लेस. वार्म इन सेंस मतलब कि उसमें छोटे छोटे आप अपने ब्रांड का रिफ्लेक्शन कैसे लेकर आते हैं, वो बहुत मायने रखता है. दैट प्लेज अ वेरी ह्यूज रोल इन ब्रिंगिंग मोर एंड मोर कस्टमर. Then barista craftsmanship. So like I am working in this coffee industry since 10 years. So I am not a producer, but I am a roaster. I have been barista, I am a cafe owner, everything. At the end of the day, I believe that हमारे जो barista होते हैं वो शो स्टॉपर होते हैं हमारे इंडस्ट्री के, पूरी इंडस्ट्री के. बिकॉज एक प्रोड्यूसर है जिसने बहुत अच्छी कॉफी बीन्स ग्रो किए हैं, एक रोस्टर है जिसने बहुत अच्छी कॉफी रोस्ट की है. Barista is the one who summarize all these things in a cup of coffee, जो वो कस्टमर को प्रेजेंट करेगा. अगर बरिस्ता क्राफ्टमैनशिप क्वेश्चनेबल है, if he is not able to extract a perfect espresso and make a good latte art, जब वो कस्टमर को कॉफी देगा तो हमारी नॉर्मल मेंटालिटी ये कि वी विल नॉट से कि बरिस्ता ने गलती की. सबसे पहले बोलेगा बीन्स अच्छे नहीं, आप अपने बीन्स चेंज कीजिए. So you have to work very hard on the barista craftsmanship. Then coffee business, particularly if we are just seeing with the cafe perspective, it is a very very tough, not tough thing on financial wise, but a very good challenging thing. मतलब कुछ चीजें होती है ना कि आपको चैलेंज करती है तो आपको अच्छा लगता है उसको परस्यू करने में. I always say that you will either leave the industry in 1 or 2 years, और आप और या ऐसा होगा कि अगर आपको इंडस्ट्री पसंद आ गई, आप अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ और नहीं कर पाओगे एक्सेप्ट कॉफी. तो देयर आर सम कोर फैक्टर्स फॉर इकोनॉमिकली रनिंग अ कैफे बिजनेस. तो दैन इज कोर वैल्यूज. आपका ब्रांड आपने क्यों खड़ा किया था, जैसे हमने बात की थी, आपकी कोर वैल्यूज क्या है. इफ देयर इज अ वेज रेस्टोरेंट, इट हैज टू बी अ टोटली वेज. If it is dedicated to specialty coffee, it has to be dedicated to specialty coffee. You can't make mistakes to make your customer doubtful. Then clear articulation of goals. आज बहुत से जने बिजनेस खोलते हैं, जब तक आपके पास अपने गोल्स का क्लियर आर्टिकुलेशन नहीं होगा कि आप कॉफी इंडस्ट्री में क्यों आना चाहते हैं, जस्ट बिकॉज इट इज अ फैंसी थिंग. आपको कोई बिजनेस करना है, आपको अपना पैशन ड्राइव करना है. क्लियर आर्टिकुलेशन ऑफ गोल्स कि मुझे ये चीज ओपन करनी है, आई डू दिस एंड आई वांट टू रीच दिस. This will help you to have a good journey. Then target audience. I've always said that the positioning of the cafe is very important. कि आपका कैफे स्कूल के बाहर है, आपका कैफे एक कॉर्पोरेट एरिया में है, या आपका कैफे एक हाई लिविंग सोसाइटी के पास है. इन तीनों जगहों के कैफे का मेन्यू अगर इंटरचेंज होता है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ देयर इज अ कैफे नियर अ कॉल सेंटर विच हैज अ मेन्यू वेरी लेविश, वेरी वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, तो वो नहीं चलेगा. बिकॉज एक कॉल सेंटर वाले के लिए कॉफी इज कन्वीनियंस, जो उनको जगा कर रखे, उनके लिए वो लेजर का पार्ट नहीं है. वैसे ही ये कैफे विद द सेम मेन्यू विच इज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव, इफ इट इज ओपन नियर अ हाई लिविंग सोसाइटी जहां लोग कैफे के अंदर अपना लेजर टाइम स्पेंड करने आते हैं, तो कैफे जरूर चलेगा. तो यू द टारगेट ऑडियंस शुड बी वेरी क्लियर. एंड देन फोर्थ कम द वैल्यू प्रोपोजिशन विच इज द एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द सेम थिंग. क्या आपके अंदर क्लैरिटी होनी चाहिए कि ये मेरा ब्रांड है, ये मैं कर रहा हूँ, जो कस्टमर मेरे ब्रांड के गेट के अंदर आ रहा है इन माय कॉफी शॉप, उसको क्या फीलिंग आनी चाहिए. वेदर he should think my brand as a specialty cafe, a small coffee shop, a QSR. That is a value proposition. Then product compatibility. Financial management is again very important because it is a capital intensive business. Sustainability, performance measurement, team management, and strategic planning. So as we have started with the thing that these businesses are the human intensive business. It is centered and focused and grown by humans. So it has a huge margin of mistakes. It has a huge margin of improvement and getting better every day. So yes, आपका जो भी कैफे हो, कॉफी शॉप हो, उसका बहुत ही सर्विस प्रोवाइडर रखिए. मतलब it has to be very apt with the product. So before ending this, before ending the whole conversation, let me summarize you. And there is also a poll that we have done. So you who are all are attending the this session can start the poll and start voting, so that we can discuss for the last 5 minutes what are the interests of the industry that is voted highest. So now to summarize all this session, it is the golden opportunity for anyone who want to start the business in the coffee industry. And let's give it like this, that it starts with green beans. It it goes through roasting. It is crafted in cafes in the form of the coffee, a beautiful latte that a consumer takes, and then even the residue of the coffee is very helpful in the beauty industry, in the daily object industry, in the perfume industry as well. There are many people who are crafting perfumes from the coffees and everything, because it is, again, हम लोग ऊद बहुत लगाते हैं, musk and everything, but now people are more and more that we want to smell like coffee. I love coffee, we want to smell like coffee. So these are all the things. So yes, it is a very golden opportunity. It is, we are seeing a gold new future in the coffee industry as well. And it was a pleasure sharing my experience with you all. We have, if somebody want to start their own business in this vicinity, so they can obviously connect to the Bora community admins, which can help and let you know that what is the procedure you can follow for persuasion, and even they can give you a very clarity. वो आपकी बहुत हेल्प कर सकते हैं ये चीज़ों के डिसाइड करने में कि आपको किस चीज़ में इन्वॉल्व होना है। अगर आपने अपना डिसाइड किया हुआ है कि आप किस चीज़ में अपना बिजनेस आगे परस्यू करना चाहते हैं, तो दे कैन हेल्प यू टू सेट अप द बिजनेस। दे आर आल्सो कनेक्टेड विद एआईसी, कॉफी बोर्ड एंड एवरीथिंग। सो वो आपको सारी रिक्वायरमेंट्स आपकी पूरी कर सकते हैं। So with this, I will take an end. This is me, Faiz Mohammed, founder of First Can Coffee Roasters, and I hope I have given you clarity and good insight of the coffee industry. And as we have seen, there is one question, that is, what is your interest in coffee industry? And the three major part which we are seeing is coffee roasting, green bean tradings, and beverage and concoction. So yes, as I said, that these are the three things that will be booming and scaling in the thing. In particular terms, in my opinion, RTD, beverage and concoctions, including premix, is something that will boost the most among all these factors, because अभी तक वो अनटैप्ड बिजनेस है, उसमें कोई कंपटीशन है नहीं, कोई मार्केट है ही नहीं अभी। वी डोंट नो, वी एग्जैक्टली डोंट नो द नंबर्स के वो कितना ग्रो करेगा। तो आप में से किसी की भी आइडिया हो तो अमर भाई इज ऑलवेज अवेलेबल विथ यू, एंड दिस जेंटलमैन इज ग्रेट विद फिगरिंग आउट दैट आप क्या कर सकते हैं इन पर्टिकुलर इंडस्ट्री, एंड इफ देयर इज समथिंग आई कैन पुट, I will be more than happy.
Thank you, Faiz bhai. I just put up the last poll questions and then probably we'll head towards concluding the webinar. But it was very informative. Thank you so much, Faiz bhai, for taking us through. I just want to add to everything which you've said, and I think a lot of people have put this in the poll that they're interested in taking forward or doing something in the coffee vertical. So Faiz bhai, he will be with us during the Indian International Coffee Festival. I don't know if I missed out on that. Faiz bhai, I'll take a lead in sharing this. So there is a festival happening in Bangalore on 12th, 13th and 14th, which is the Indian International Coffee Festival. You can come and meet him on the 13th of Feb. We have taken up a booth there by the name of Q360, which is at the B7 stall number. So we'll be there throughout 3 days, helping anyone and everyone who wants to take up their business from bean to cup, right from sourcing, supply chain, equipment, barista training, menu design, cafe design, etc., etc. So please come and see us during the Indian International Coffee Festival. And anyone who's remotely interested in doing something in coffee, I think it's a good platform. It's a good stage for you to learn. I think Faiz bhai can share more on that.
Yes, thank you, Amma bhai. So let's catch up at Bangalore. So if anybody has a particular interest, so we can have this particular thing discussed in Amar's by stall, headed by the community. So you can communicate one on one there.
100%. And the questions, Faiz bhai, if I'm not wrong, has been taken up during the conversation itself. Um, what are some of the specialty coffee India grows? And these questions we have already covered during the session.
Yeah,
Cool, cool.
I
Right,
tried my best that I can cover all these points during the conversation only.
right.
Yeah.
And I think there's one thing that what is the advantage of buying beans from India or somewhere like Colombia?
My like I as I told that earlier, what happened in India that for example, if there is something like Brazilian coffee, so we were used to get very excited. Now, if we see the price point, so it totally depends whether you are buying from India or Colombia. Is it commercial or specialty? That is one.
Specialty. Right.
And I am a huge matlab, I favor Indian coffee like very prominently, because again, for example, if you are importing some coffee, either you have to play with the volume, or otherwise it will be very expensive because of the logistic and the taxation. So that we have to understand. Again, it totally end up with the thing that what is the price of the coffee and the what is the quality you are giving. And if you are going with the business perspective, whether you are importing a Colombian coffee, is there a demand in Indian coffee market of Colombian coffee or not?
Correct.
Again, it is a vanity matrix. It is a storytelling. I can sell anything under the name of a good coffee, specialty coffee, if I have a great story to tell.
Right. Right. And I think someone is asking that they want to discuss something over the phone. Yes, you can. After the webinar, there will be a email which will come, which will have recording to the session. It will also have feedback, and it will also have a phone number of the support desk. Murtaza Bhai Munshi, he manages all the inquiries coming in. So his number will be shared along with this feedback email. So I request you to fill both. And anyone has any queries, he can directly reach out. Since he operates out of Bangalore coffee board premises itself, it becomes easier for us to connect with experts from there on. And yeah, I think I'll take just one last question and then we'll wrap up because I think we've gone over time. What are some coffee brands with good quality coffee and at the same time economical for cafe startups?
If we say for the coffee beans, like this is the question regarding coffee beans, right?
Right.
So, like many roasters, for example, including me and other artisanal roasters who are into specialty coffee. So now we also focus to give a economical coffee blend, which comes under the specialty segment, but not too expensive. So again, as I've explained in my initial thing, that there are specialty and there are micro lots. So like I also understand that if somebody want to start a coffee shop and sell a cappuccino ranging between 150 to 200 rupees per cup, which is very good and economical. So उसके लिए ये होगा कि जो आपके coffee beans है, that should range between 1250 to 1500, not more than that. And that coffee comes under the specialty grading. So there are many brands that are doing. Like me, there are like roasters in Jaipur who are doing the same. And again, if there is somebody who is selling a cup for 80 to 100, then there are brands like Brio and other who are selling good quality of commercial. Again, not very bad quality of commercial, good quality of commercial coffee beans. Means it depends like what is the range of coffee beans you want to procure for your cafe. So it is now very easy. It is accessible to everyone.
Right.
And even, sorry, I just want to add, which I have missed in the slide. There are many roasters who are doing project roasting as well. For example, आज अमार भाई को अपना brand खोलना है, but अमार भाई doesn't want to jump into the roasting part, and he can't invest his time for roasting and give a 1 year break to his job and everything कि मैं 1 साल पहले कॉफी रोस्टिंग सीखूं उसके बाद मैं कॉफी रोस्टर खोलूं. So there are many brands that are focusing on project roasting. Now what is, just 1 minute and I will end up that project roasting क्या होती है. I am a roaster. Amar Bhai has a brand. I will be roasting for Amar Bhai and Amar Bhai will be selling for his coffee. Now इसमें दोनों का फायदा क्या होता है. I will get money to roast coffee beans. He doesn't have to hassle about that. एंड अमार भाई अपने ग्रीन बीन्स खुद चूज कर सकते हैं कि मैं ये वाली कॉफी बेच रहा हूँ, आपको सिर्फ रोस्ट करना है. दिस इज वन ऑफ द थिंग दैट कैन गो and answer all these questions about the economical and the good quality of coffee for the coffee shops or individual coffee brand you want to set up.
Correct. Thank you so much, Faiz Bhai, for all your insights. I have also pinned Murtaza Bhai's number, who can be reached out for anything with respect to today's webinar or anything if you want any assistance from the coffee division. I have also pinned a link in the chat, which is your interest form for coming and meeting us during the IICF event, which is happening again on 12th, 13th, and 14th. So if you can pre-register, and if you want to, give us a heads up about you so that we can come better prepared with respect to your query. So the form is already in the comments, so you can pick it up from there. And I think on that note, we'll conclude today's session. Thank you so much, Faiz Bhai, for all your insights, all your inputs, addressing all our questions at large. And we'll see you again on the 13th of Feb at IACF. And I am sure that a lot of people from today's webinar will turn up and have a one-on-one if required. And look forward to doing more and more sessions like this in future with you. I think just with your experience, we can do a range of topics. So looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And I hope this was of help. Look forward to the email which will come to you. So this will have the feedback link. I request everyone to fill that feedback form so that it can help us plan the sessions better next time. Thank you and have a good one.